How much cruelty does it take to turn silence into applause? That question would haunt Daesan High School long after the final bell echoed down its golden corridors. The air was thick with spring. Cherry blossoms drifted through the sky like ashes of forgotten dreams. But what unfolded near the rooftop of Daesan High wasn't a scene from a fairy tale. It was chaos. Brutal. Raw. Unforgiving. A boy stood on the ledge, fists trembling, eyes vacant. Below, a crowd of polished uniforms and designer shoes gawked, not with horror, but with phones raised like trophies. "Jump," someone whispered. It was unclear if it was out of mockery or disbelief. But just when everything seemed to slow into a moment destined for tragedy, a voice ripped through the air like a lightning strike. "Stop it. Are you mad?" She came running, not in designer heels or school-issued loafers, but in scuffed sneakers and a delivery apron smeared with detergent powder. Anita, the girl with skin kissed by the sun and eyes that blazed like war, pushed past the murmuring crowd and reached him. One hand gripped his arm. The other clutched hope. And she pulled. That was the moment South Korea knew her name. Anita. The Nigerian girl from Gyeongjadong. Daughter of a dry cleaner. A girl with nothing but a brave heart and a fire that would not be silenced. 3 days later, her name was everywhere. Headlines sang her praises. Commoner heroine rescues heir from tragedy. Blogs debated her motive. Comment sections exploded with envy and admiration. But behind closed mahogany doors, inside the towering Ga-young Group headquarters, Chairwoman Kang Hee-soo was seething. "She humiliated us," the woman hissed, her crimson nails tapping her desk like gunfire. "And now the country adores her." The public backlash had been fierce, calls for an apology, boycott threats, hashtags trending globally. Ga-young Group, the mighty conglomerate that owned Daesan High, was on the verge of a public relations nightmare. And so, the Queen of Steel bent, but only slightly. "Offer her a scholarship," Chairwoman Kang commanded. "Make it look like compassion. Then make her regret it." Anita didn't want the scholarship. She hadn't asked for it. But her family, Mum, Dad, and her precocious little brother Caleb, looked at her like she'd been handed a star. "You can go there, Anita," her mother whispered. "Where the sky is clearer." She didn't know it then, but the sky at Daesan wasn't clear. It was poisoned, clouded by power, privilege, and people who played gods in school uniforms. Daesan High School was not built, it was carved into the hill like a fortress for the elite. Towering gates, marble hallways, hologram screens. But what glittered most wasn't the tech, it was X3. They were legends in pressed uniforms. Lee Sung, heir to the Ga-young Group, the unchallenged tyrant with smoldering eyes and a crooked smirk. Yoon Tan, silent, pale, and distant, with eyes like winter frost and a violinist's grace. Kim Song, son of a criminal empire, but with charm that could melt iron. Together, they ruled with cruel elegance. No one crossed them. No one questioned them. Until Anita. Or, delivery girl, someone sneered on her first day, pointing at her lunch tray. "You sure you're not here to serve food?" She didn't reply. She walked straight, back unbent. In the grand auditorium, where all new students were introduced, whispers started the moment her name was announced. Her skin. Her background. Her scholarship. She was a storm in a ballroom of mirrors. Then came the red card. It was slipped into her locker like a death sentence. Daesan's way of marking targets. The moment you received it, the whole school had permission to destroy you. The next few days were a blur of torment. Her textbooks were ripped apart. Her gym clothes soaked and frozen. Her desk vanished. The cafeteria became a minefield. Laughter followed her like a curse. And behind it all, watching with amused indifference, was Lee Sung. He didn't even speak to her at first. He didn't need to. The smirk on his face said everything. She was nothing. An accident. A commoner walking in silk halls. But Anita didn't break. The next morning, she walked into class with her chin raised and eyes blazing. "I'm not scared of any of you," she said aloud, her voice cutting through the chatter. Least of all, a bored little boy with too much money. The room went silent. Lee Sung blinked. Then, slowly, he grinned. And so, the game began. What happens when a lion underestimates a girl with nothing to lose? The red card wasn't just paper. It was blood inked on a contract of cruelty. It meant isolation, sabotage, humiliation, an unspoken rule of terror passed down by X3 like a twisted family tradition. No one had ever dared to defy it. Until Anita. The first day after she received it, she walked into Daesan High as if the sky hadn't just collapsed on her shoulders. Her uniform was clean, but her shoes were damp, her locker had been flooded again. Her textbooks were gone, but she carried a notepad. Her seat had been flipped upside down, yet she pulled it upright, calmly. She said nothing. But her silence screamed louder than any retaliation. That, to Lee Sung, was infuriating. She doesn't cry. She doesn't beg, he muttered under his breath, drumming his fingers against his Bentley's steering wheel. Is she stupid or just stubborn? Yoon Tan gave him a disinterested look from the passenger seat. Or maybe she's not scared of you. Kim Song laughed from the back. Impossible. Even the teachers are scared of you. Not her, Lee Sung said with a frown. She looks at me like she sees right through me. And what does she see? Yoon Tan asked, voice like chilled glass. Lee Sung didn't answer. The next trick was worse. They filled her locker with dead fish. The smell spread across the corridor like a curse. Students laughed, some covering their noses, others pointing. A few even took pictures. Anita didn't flinch. She grabbed a trash bag, emptied the mess silently, wiped the inside of the locker with disinfectant wipes, and aired it open. Then she walked to class. Without a single tear. But what broke the crowd wasn't her silence. It was her smile. A small, proud smile, like she had just won something no one else could see. The whispers started turning. Why is she still standing? Shouldn't she have left by now? She's kind of amazing. Anita wasn't just surviving, she was changing the rhythm of Daesan High's cruelty. She wasn't playing their game. She was rewriting the rules. But power does not like to be challenged. Especially not by a girl who scrubs her mother's laundry shop at 5 a.m. and walks into Korea's most elite high school like she owns the ground beneath her. One afternoon, after school, as she packed up her things, books borrowed from the library, notes she'd copied by hand, a voice spoke behind her. You think you're brave? She turned. Lee Sung was standing there, one hand in his pocket, the other holding a red card like a sword. No, she replied, calmly. I know I am. That knocked the air out of him. His smirk faltered. Just for a second. He stepped closer. I could make your life miserable. She met his gaze, unwavering. You already tried. I'm still here. The silence between them was thick. Hot. Electric. Then, Lee Sung did something no one expected. He laughed. A genuine, baffled, throaty laugh. And for the first time, it wasn't cruel. Later that night, in his penthouse suite overlooking the Han River, he sat with a drink in hand, staring at his reflection in the window. She's different, he whispered. His mother, Chairwoman Kang, had warned him. Don't get distracted. That girl is a parasite. She'll climb her way to the top on pity. But Lee Sung wasn't sure anymore. Anita wasn't climbing. She was flying. Meanwhile, Anita was crying. Not in public. Not at school. But in the quiet corners of her tiny bedroom, behind the thin walls of her family's apartment, with her pillow muffling the sound. She didn't cry because she was weak. She cried because she had to be strong all the time. I hate that school, she whispered to herself. I hate him. I hate what they did. But even as she said the words, she knew it wasn't true. She didn't hate Lee Sung. She hated that she wanted to understand him. At Daesan, the war continued. More tricks. More tests. More silence. But now, something had shifted. Eyes were watching Anita with something close to respect. And Lee Sung? He had started watching her with something else entirely. How do you fight someone who already owns the world, and still make him fall for you? It started with bruises, not the ones that showed, but the ones that nestled deep beneath the surface of pride and silence. Daesan High glittered in the morning sun like a diamond castle. But Anita had learned something about diamonds. They're made under pressure, forged in darkness. And the ones walking these pristine hallways, Lee Sung and his X3 brothers, were the darkest gems of all. Yet, for the first time, the pressure was cracking from the inside. Why are you staring at her? Yoon Tan asked quietly, flicking through his sketchbook without lifting his eyes. Lee Sung blinked, snapping out of his trance. I'm not. Kim Song scoffed. You watched her eat ramen for 10 full minutes. You blinked once. Lee Sung shoved his tray forward. She eats like she hasn't eaten in days. Maybe she hasn't, Yoon Tan murmured. Her mum owns a laundry shop in Yeongjungpo. Single mother. 3 siblings. Since when do you care? Lee Sung asked, his voice colder than intended. I don't, Yoon Tan replied simply. But you do. Anita was careful never to look directly at Lee Sung in public. She'd learned that attention was a loaded gun in Daesan High, and Lee Sung was always watching, always ready to fire. Yet sometimes, she caught him hesitating. Once, during lunch, someone tripped her in the cafeteria. Her tray flew. Soup spilled. The room gasped. It was classic X3. But this time, Lee Sung didn't laugh. Instead, he stood up. He didn't speak. He didn't help her. But he looked at the boy who did it. One sharp glare. The boy turned pale. The message was clear. That's not your target anymore. Later that day, Anita found a clean set of books in her locker. No note. No explanation. Just brand new replacements for the ones that had been ruined weeks before. She stared at them for a long time. Why are you being nice to me? She asked bluntly the next time she crossed paths with Lee Sung. They were alone, unexpectedly, near the old music room that students rarely used. The corridor echoed every word. Lee Sung leaned against the wall, arms folded. I'm not. You replaced my books. Must have been a fan, he said flatly, but there was a twitch in his jaw. And you made that boy apologize. Coincidence. Anita crossed her arms. Are you scared of me? Lee Sung's gaze sharpened. You think I'm scared of you? You should be, she said, stepping closer. Because I'm not going anywhere. You can throw 100 red cards at me, but I'm not running. Silence stretched between them. 2 storms eyeing each other. Then Lee Sung said, softer than expected, that's what scares me. At home that night, Anita found a note tucked inside one of the books from her locker. No name. Just a line. If they knew who I really was, they'd hate me too. She held it like glass. Her heart thudded once, twice, louder than it should have. The next morning, Daesan High was buzzing. A poster had been pinned to the central hallway bulletin board. A sketch, beautiful, haunting, of Anita. Underneath it, the girl who doesn't bow. No name, but every student knew, only one person in Daesan drew like that. Yoon Tan. And Yoon Tan never drew anyone. Ever. X3 was splitting at the seams. Why did you draw her? Lee Sung asked, tone unreadable. Yoon Tan shrugged. She's interesting. You're not interested in people. I wasn't. Until she arrived. For the first time, attention neither of them could joke away filled the space. Kim Song broke it, tossing a basketball between his palms. So what happens if 2 kings fall for the same queen? No one laughed. Not even Lee Sung. Meanwhile, Anita had started noticing something strange. Kindness. A girl who once spat near her shoe now opened the library door for her. A boy from class 2 bowed awkwardly and said, "You're cool, Nuna." The red card on her locker had been torn in half. No one ever dared do that. It was as if her defiance had become contagious. But with admiration came attention. And with attention came Chairwoman Kang. The summons arrived like a threat. Anita was called to the Ga-young Tower, 90 floors of silent wealth, glass walls, and shadows that walked in heels. Chairwoman Kang sat behind a desk that looked like a war table. Her lipstick was blood red, her tone colder than Seoul's winter wind. "You're infecting my school," she said without preamble. "You walk in like a martyr. You think you've earned their sympathy. But you're not one of us." Anita didn't flinch. "I never said I was." Chairwoman Kang's smile didn't reach her eyes. "End whatever fantasy you're nurturing. My son belongs to this world. You don't." "I don't want your son," Anita replied, though even she wasn't sure if that was still true. Chairwoman Kang narrowed her eyes. "Then stay out of his path." But it was already too late. Lee Sung had stopped seeing Anita as a target. He had started seeing her as the truth. What's more dangerous, being hated by the powerful, or loved by someone who's never known how to love? It rained the next morning. Not the gentle, romantic kind. This was a torrential downpour, the kind that washed away facades, silenced footsteps, and exposed everything hidden beneath the surface. Anita walked into Daesan High drenched, her umbrella ripped from the wind just 10 steps from the gate. She didn't care. The storm outside was quieter than the one inside her chest. She hadn't slept all night. Chairwoman Kang's voice kept ringing in her ears. You don't belong here. And you never will. X3 was silent that morning. Lee Sung didn't look at Anita. Yoon Tan didn't speak at all. Kim Song just watched, amused, as though waiting for something to explode. And it did. Second period. Chemistry lab. A note slipped under Anita's notebook. Meet me behind the auditorium. Now. LS. She didn't hesitate. By the time she reached the empty corridor behind the auditorium, she was dripping again, part rain, part uncertainty. Lee Sung was already there. His shirt was soaked open at the collar. His hair, usually arrogant and perfect, hung damp across his brow. He didn't speak immediately. Neither did she. Finally, he said, quietly, my mum talked to you. Anita didn't move. She warned me. He nodded once, as though expecting it. Then, I'm sorry. The words stunned her more than the rain. You, she blinked. Apologizing? Lee Sung gave a bitter smile. Don't get used to it. A pause. Why me? She asked, voice low. You could have any girl in that school. Why choose the one you're supposed to break? His eyes met hers, and this time, there was no arrogance. Only truth. Because you're the only one who didn't look at me like I was a god, or a monster. They didn't kiss. They didn't touch. But something passed between them in that moment. Quiet, electric, real. And it terrified them both. That afternoon, the cracks in X3 widened. Yoon Tan stood in the practice room, sketchbook abandoned, eyes dark. You like her? Lee Sung leaned against the doorframe. What if I do? You can't. She's not yours either. She's not yours yet, Yoon Tan said softly. But once she is, you'll break her. Elsewhere, Anita sat in the library, flipping through old records of the Ga-young group. A name kept appearing, Chairwoman Kang's late husband, the founder. Ruthless. Cold. There were whispers of scandals, embezzlement, threats silenced with checkbooks. And Lee Sung, he was next in line. How could someone born from that world look at someone like her, and see hope? She was leaving the library when she heard it. Voices. Behind the shelf. Familiar. I'm telling you, Lee Sung's distracted. Over what? That scholarship girl? She's dangerous. We're losing control. They're saying he turned down a blind date with Han Seminit for her. You know what that means. She's a problem. And problems get erased. Anita didn't go home that night. She took the bus until it stopped at the edge of the Han River. She sat there, the city lights reflected in the water like lies on fire. She remembered her mother's words the day she got the scholarship. Anita, never bow your head unless you're tying your shoelaces. And even then, make sure you rise taller. She wiped her tears with the sleeve of her cheap school uniform and whispered to the night. I'm not leaving. Not until they see me. All of me. Meanwhile, back at the Ga-young Tower, Chairwoman Kang stood by the floor-length window, sipping wine. Her secretary entered. She's still resisting. Chairwoman Kang's smile was razor-sharp. Then it's time to make her an offer she can't afford to refuse. What would you do if love came dressed as war? Would you fight it, flee from it, or surrender and burn? Daesan High wore its silence like a mask the next morning. Whispers stirred beneath the polished walls. The X3 were no longer united. Lee Sung was seen alone. Yoon Tan wasn't sketching. Kim Song wasn't laughing. And Anita. She walked through the corridors like a storm with no thunder, silent, proud, and untouchable. But inside, her heart was fraying. Every glance felt like a bullet. Every silence, a trap. And she knew, it wasn't over. Chairwoman Kang acted swiftly. The very next day, Anita was summoned to the Ga-young Group headquarters. Not through official school channels, through a handwritten note, delivered by a black-suited driver who stood like a shadow at the school gates. The limousine ride was eerily quiet. The marble lobby of Ga-young Tower loomed like a palace made of secrets. And there she was, Chairwoman Kang, standing by the edge of a vast window, overlooking the city like a queen playing chess with people's lives. "Anita," she said, voice smooth as silk but sharp as steel, "let me ask you something simple. Do you love my son?" Anita stood still. "With all due respect, that's not your business." Chairwoman Kang's lips curved. "Wrong answer." She circled Anita slowly, like a hawk. "You see, girls like you think that love is enough. That if you're bold, brave, or pitiful enough, the world will change for you. But let me teach you a lesson my late husband taught me. This world bows only to power. And you, Anita, have none." Anita met her gaze without blinking. "Maybe not. But I have something you'll never understand." "Oh." Chairwoman Kang tilted her head mockingly. "And what is that?" "Courage." The room chilled. Chairwoman Kang stepped back, clapping softly. "You're brave, I'll give you that. But brave girls don't survive in my world. So here's my offer. I'll pay for your mother's hospital treatment. I'll clear your debts. I'll even sponsor your university education overseas. All you have to do is leave Daesan High. Today." Anita's throat tightened. Her mother. Her future. A way out. But she also saw Lee Sung's eyes in her mind, the way he'd looked at her like she was the only honest thing in his world of mirrors. And she whispered, "No." Chairwoman Kang's smile vanished. "You'll regret this," she said coldly. "I promise you." By the time Anita returned to school, her locker had been vandalized. Red paint. A ripped uniform. A photo of her and Lee Sung, torn down the middle. She didn't cry. She cleaned it. And she taped the photo back together, piece by piece. That afternoon, Lee Sung found her on the rooftop. "You went to see my mother," he said. "It wasn't a question. She made me an offer." His face darkened. "What did you say?" "I said no." Something flickered behind his eyes. Pride, pain, fear. "You shouldn't have," he whispered. "Why?" she asked. "Because now I'm a target." "No," he said softly, stepping closer. "Because now, I'm terrified of how much I need you." That night, Kim Song cornered Yoon Tan in the music room. "You're too quiet," he said. "You're not over her." Yoon Tan played a single note on the piano, sharp, wrong, jarring. "I was never under her to begin with," he muttered. "Don't lie to me." Yoon Tan looked up. "Then don't lie to yourself. If this falls apart, it won't be because of her. It'll be because of us." And in the shadows, someone listened. A student council member. A loyalist to Chairwoman Kang. A betrayer waiting to strike. The next day, Daesan High was buzzing. Photos of Anita, edited, twisted, were leaked onto the school forum. Cruel captions. Fake messages. Even forged letters suggesting she was blackmailing Lee Sung. The school turned against her like wolves smelling blood. She was called to the principal's office. And Lee Sung? He stormed into the meeting uninvited. "She didn't write those," he roared. "But they were sent from her account," the vice principal muttered. "Because someone hacked it. Look at the timestamp. She was with me." A deadly silence fell. Then came a voice from the doorway, Yoon Tan. "I can prove it," he said. "I have security footage." Everyone turned. "Why would you help her?" the principal asked suspiciously. Yoon Tan smiled, cold and quiet. "Because truth matters. Even here." Later, as Anita sat on the rooftop again, Lee Sung joined her. "You didn't have to come," she said. "I always will." She looked up, tears caught in her lashes. "Even if it ruins you?" He smiled, taking her hand. "Then let it ruin me." What happens when two hearts defy a world built to keep them apart? Do they burn brighter, or do they drown in silence? Daesan High School had never known this kind of tension, like a storm cloud looming above, crackling with secrets and whispers. The hallways had become battlegrounds of loyalty, rumor, and resistance. And Anita, she walked straight through the eye of it. They now called her names under their breath. Opportunist. Gold digger. Snake. But Anita had learned something powerful. Silence could be stronger than screams. She held her head high, even as the walls closed in. Lee Sung had become unpredictable. He skipped board meetings. He cancelled X3 appearances. And worst of all, he defied Chairwoman Kang. "You're changing," Kim Song said to him in the empty X3 lounge. "No," Lee Sung replied, staring out the glass window. "I'm remembering who I really am." "And who is that?" Yoon Tan asked from the doorway. "Someone who's finally choosing his own life." Yoon Tan exchanged a glance with Kim Song. There was something different about their leader now. Less sharp edges, more gravity. Anita had carved her way into his soul. And they all knew it. That afternoon, as the cherry blossoms bloomed across the school courtyard, a subtle but cruel attack unfolded. A teacher, under pressure from above, announced Anita's scholarship was under review due to inappropriate behavior and poor moral standing. The class turned to her, expecting tears. Instead, Anita stood calmly, packed her books, and walked out without a word. Lee Sung found her outside. "I'll fight them," he said. She shook her head. "No, I'll fight them." He looked at her then, not as a girl he wanted to protect, but as a woman he was in awe of. "I love you," he said quietly. She froze. It was the first time he had said it. Raw, unpolished, real. Anita turned to him, and despite everything, the hate, the humiliation, the loneliness, she smiled. "I know. But love, they were learning, demanded more than just feelings. It required sacrifice." Later that week, Chairwoman Kang summoned Lee Sung again. This time, she wasn't smiling. "You're ruining everything," she hissed. "I'm reclaiming everything," he replied. She threw a thick file on the table, Anita's immigration records, her family history, her financial status. Every line a wound waiting to bleed. "She has nothing," the chairwoman said coldly. "She brings shame. Do you know what they're saying about you in the investor meetings? That you've become weak." "I'd rather be weak with her," Lee Sung replied, "than powerful and empty with you." The ultimatum came 2 nights later. An anonymous tip, clearly orchestrated, called for Anita's suspension, claiming she had engaged in conduct unbecoming of a Daesan High scholar. No evidence. Just noise. But loud enough to echo. Principal Kang, the chairwoman's cousin, summoned her the next morning. "I'm afraid we have no choice," he said. "There will be an inquiry. Effective immediately, you're suspended." Anita stood, eyes steady. "Then I'll speak at the inquiry. On record." He flinched. "You think your voice matters? It does now." And suddenly, the tide began to turn. Dozens of students, those who had once been silent, began to post online. #I stand with Anita. #truth at Daesan. #X3 reform. They weren't hashtags. They were battle cries. Even Kim Song shared a post on his private channel. "She walked where lions wouldn't dare. I respect that." And Yoon Tan? He uploaded a short piano piece titled Her Fire, My Silence. It went viral in hours. Anita, standing beneath the cherry blossom tree, watched her name become something she never imagined. Not shame. Not scandal. But strength. Lee Sung appeared beside her, holding something in his hand. She raised an eyebrow. "You look nervous." He chuckled. "I've gone against my mother, the board, the press, and half of Seoul. But you still scare me." "Good," she teased. "It means you're smart." Then she saw what he was holding. A ring. Simple. Elegant. A silver band with a small diamond carved like a flame. "I know we're young. I know the world is still against us. But I don't want to wait anymore." Her breath caught. "Anita," he said, kneeling on one knee. "Will you marry me?" The world held its breath. She stared at him, this boy who had once tormented others for sport. Now, he was the only one who had ever seen her completely, and chosen her anyway. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, with tears streaming down her face. "Yes." And for the first time, Daesan High didn't roar in outrage. It clapped. Even the cherry blossoms seemed to applaud as petals rained down on them. Love had not just survived the storm. It had become the storm. What does it cost to love someone the world insists you're not allowed to love? It had only been 3 days since Lee Sung's public proposal to Anita under the cherry blossoms at Daesan High, but the world hadn't rested since. The internet had exploded. Gossip tabloids were bleeding headlines. And Ga Young Group stocks had dropped a noticeable 3.7% within 24 hours. But for Anita and Lee Sung, those numbers meant little. They had chosen something bigger than wealth, something far more fragile, each other. At school, the tides were shifting. Anita was no longer just the scholarship girl or the Nigerian girl who caused a scene. She had become a symbol. A quiet revolution wrapped in an ordinary uniform. Girls smiled at her now. Boys who had mocked her lowered their eyes in guilt. Even the teachers began to greet her differently, still cautious, but no longer dismissive. But shadows don't vanish overnight. And Chairwoman Kang? She wasn't done yet. In the highest suite of the Ga Young Tower, Chairwoman Kang paced. Her manicured fingers clenched an envelope bearing the Ga Young crest. The board members had called for an emergency meeting. Questions were being asked. Whispers of succession. Of instability. She would not lose her grandson to a girl with no name. No money. No bloodline. No purpose. Not after everything she had sacrificed. Meanwhile, X3, fractured but united in cause, met secretly in the old greenhouse behind the music hall. It was Kim Song who spoke first. "I heard what they're planning," he said grimly. "They want to force Lee Sung into an arranged engagement. Someone from the Han conglomerate." Yoon Tan scoffed. "As if money can fix the damage they've already done." Lee Sung sat quietly, his jaw tight. "I won't marry anyone else," he said. "They'll have to drag me to the altar." "They might," Kim Song said darkly. "Or worse, they'll go after Anita again. Harder this time." Silence fell. Yoon Tan placed a hand on Lee Sung's shoulder. "You're not alone anymore. We protect each other now." That's what X3 is supposed to mean. That night, Anita sat at her family's modest apartment, rereading an email from the Ga Young Group's legal division. "We advise you to consider a private relocation outside Korea until the media calms down. This is a courtesy request." A courtesy request? No. It was a veiled threat. Her mother, who had once scrubbed office floors owned by Ga Young executives, looked at her daughter now with trembling pride. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone," she said softly. But Anita had made her choice. "I'm not running," she whispered. "Not anymore." At Daesan High's upcoming Founders' Day celebration, the students were to perform and deliver speeches. It was tradition, an event always dominated by legacies of the elite. But this year, something different happened. Anita's name appeared on the program. She had been chosen to give the final speech. The keynote address. No one knew who approved it. Whispers said it was Yoon Tan, who had pulled strings quietly through the arts committee. Others said it was Kim Song's doing, as the student president. But everyone knew what it meant. Anita would speak. And the whole nation would be listening. On the morning of the event, the auditorium was filled to the brim. Parents, board members, news cameras, and most importantly, Chairwoman Kang herself. She sat in the front row, flanked by Ga Young executives in dark suits. Lee Sung stood backstage, nerves coiled in his gut. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. Anita, dressed in a simple white dress and school blazer, gave him a quiet smile. "I've never been more sure of anything." The host called her name. She stepped into the spotlight. "When I first came to Daesan High, I didn't think I belonged." The audience held its breath. "I was different. I looked different. I spoke differently. I didn't come from money or legacy. But over time, I learnt that it isn't where you come from that defines you, it's who you choose to be when no one's watching." She paused. Her voice calm. Unshaken. "I've been bullied, shamed, and silenced. But I've also been loved, protected, and heard. That love changed me. It taught me that true strength isn't inherited, it's forged." People were crying. Teachers. Parents. Even students who had once mocked her. To the Ga Young Group, to Chairwoman Kang, to the world watching, my name is Anita. I am not a scandal. I am not a threat. I am someone who dared to stay standing. A beat of silence. And I am not going anywhere. Thunderous applause erupted. Even the school principal stood. Tears in his eyes. Chairwoman Kang sat frozen, defeated by a teenage girl who had no power, except her truth. Backstage, Lee Sung met her with open arms. "You did it," he whispered. "No," she said, smiling through her tears. "We did. Is love still love when the whole world tries to erase it?" Spring had returned to Daesan High. The cherry blossoms bloomed in full glory, like pink clouds suspended above a world that had nearly collapsed. The wind was softer. The laughter of students rang clearer. The walls that had once echoed with cruelty now held silence, the kind that comes after a war is won. And in the heart of that peace stood Anita. The days following her speech were a blur. Overnight, she became a symbol, not of rebellion, but of hope. Interview requests poured in. Scholarships were offered. Invitations from international universities arrived. But Anita remained still. Not because she was indecisive, but because she was waiting for something more important than all of that. For him. Chairwoman Kang had been silent since Founders Day. No letters. No lawyers. No meetings. But silence from a woman like Kang wasn't surrender. It was a decision. One not yet voiced. Until now. Anita was on her way home when a black car stopped beside her. Out stepped a woman in silver heels and a black silk hanbok. Chairwoman Kang. No guards. No drivers. Just her. She stood before Anita, her face unreadable. "You have cost me a great deal, Anita," she said calmly. Anita didn't flinch. "And you nearly cost me everything." The older woman gave a cold smile. "You remind me of myself, before I learnt that love is a luxury the powerful can't afford." Anita met her gaze, unwavering. Then maybe it's time someone powerful remembered how to feel. A long silence passed between them. Then, for the first time, Chairwoman Kang did something no one expected. She nodded. Just once. Without another word, she turned, stepped back into the car, and drove away. That weekend, Daesan High was nearly empty, except for the cherry blossom grove behind the art building. A secret place. Their place. Lee Sung stood there in a white suit, nervously adjusting his cufflinks. X3 had helped him plan everything. A string quartet softly played in the distance. White lanterns floated gently above. Anita walked towards him in a long, flowing pale blue dress. The moment she stepped into the grove, time paused. "You're late," he said, trying not to grin. "You're shaking," she teased. He dropped to one knee. And for the first time in his life, Lee Sung, heir to the Ga Young Group, former tyrant of Daesan High, product of legacy and power, let go of everything that had once made him cruel. All he held now was sincerity. "Anita," he said, voice trembling, "the world tried to keep us apart. But loving you made me human. You taught me to feel, to change, to fight. Not just for us, but for something bigger." He held out the ring. "Will you marry me, not as Ga Young's future chairwoman, not as the girl who broke the rules, but as the girl who broke me and built me back better?" Anita didn't speak. She dropped to her knees too, took his hand in hers, and whispered, "Yes." And in that grove of blossoms, beneath a sky that no longer felt like it needed to be challenged, they kissed. Not like children playing at love, but like two souls who had survived it. Years later, a magazine cover would feature the couple, Lee Sung and Anita, co-founders of a global scholarship foundation for underprivileged students across Asia and Africa. Daesan High would name its library after Anita. Chairwoman Kang, in her final public speech, would mention Anita's name, not with disdain, but respect. And X3? They stayed brothers, unbroken, unforgotten. Because some stories don't end with fireworks or tragedy. Some stories end with beginnings.